Happy Monday, degenerates. Welcome on back to the Die Hard MMA podcast. It is UFC Seattle fight week. We've got another awesome set of UFC fights on deck for you. We are coming off of the highly disappointing UFC London event, both for your boy and just in general, if I do say so myself. This last week's card, what are we even doing? There's a lot going on right now. I'm looking forward to this event. Hopefully this one is a little bit better. I don't know if I was the only one that was a little bit disappointed by the results from UFC London, but unfortunately it is what it is. We will see what we got in store for you guys coming up. Welcome on into the show, you guys. Apologies for being a couple of minutes late. It's pretty funny, actually. One of the staples of the show is that I make sure I am never late. The show is never on a different day. The show is never at a different time, unless, of course, daylight savings times rolls, and then I have to move because, you know, I'm in the stupid state that doesn't do that with everybody else. But regardless, my whole thing is punctuation, and then you guys in the chat are punishing me when I'm the one that's late because I've set the standard, and I'm happy to have set that standard, so you guys have at it. Sorry for being a couple of minutes late. I apologize. Welcome into the show, everybody. My man Dream kicking us off in the chat as always. The only Godfather says fire graphics, and thank you. I decided to change things up a little bit, and I think I like the new direction that we're going. It was stale, man. You know, the thumbnails, I've been doing it that way for years, and as much as there may be some like pattern recognition or something like that for the show, it's 2026. We gotta change things up, shake it a little bit around here. George Ray Pro, what is going on, buddy? How is it going? We've got Muhammad in the house. Pablo, what's up? Old D, how's it going? Tyga, Louis Mac Jr., Ryan, Heinman, Zach, what is up? Ethan, Hershey, Dixon, Cider, we got the whole crew. TH, what's up? Majin Flex, Rick the Ruler, welcome into the show, everybody. I am very excited for this week, and we can do a quick recap of last week's event like always. But first, let me bring in this week's guest, DFS extraordinaire, the man himself, Big Marley. What is up, my friend? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. It's good to be back on the show. It's been a while. I feel like maybe over a year at this point. But I think it's a decent card to come back to, and not hard to beat the last one as well.
Right? Not tough to beat the last one. Thank you for coming back. I know it's been a minute, but I'm very excited to have you on. The guest list has gotten a little bit long, man, unfortunately. And that's, you know, when you go through that cycle of the guests, it's like, man, if I miss one rotation on somebody, it's 9 months or a year before they come back around. I feel bad, but I'm glad to do a show with you. Thanks.
You're good. I mean, you actually asked me during football season, and I had to turn it down because I was too busy. So, I mean, it's good to see you again, but it wasn't your fault at all.
That is the struggle, man. I know football is absolutely massive for you, so I glad we could make it work here during the off season. It's funny, I was just looking at football news myself. I've got a high stakes dynasty team that I roll with, so I'm keeping my eyes on all the moves and stuff like that in the off season. And we're headed to Seattle. I'm a Jackson Smith and Jigba guy. I tanked for like 2 straight years to get the first round pick so I could pick him up for my dynasty team. So excited. He just got massive money, set the record in the NFL for wide receivers. So I feel you, man. It's a good time. Hopefully NFL season comes around here quick. Baseball kills me.
Yeah. Amen. Amen to that.
Oh, man. So last week, how'd you do?
Last week, not good. I had Nathaniel Wood was good to me, but I had a couple misses. Curtis Campbell was the one that made me the most mad. another underdog. Oh, Sam Patterson I had, and then maybe another underdog as well. But yeah, overall losing week for me. And then I ended up turning the card off after I think Curtis Campbell. I was so mad. So I didn't even see the Evloev fight and all the controversy surrounding that one.
Dude, it was a wild week. So I thought I was gonna be rolling last week. You know, it's been a tough start to 2026 for a lot of us that are in like the content creation space. I feel like it's been a slow start to the year. I got the under 2.5 on Dyer and Oliveira. And I was like, starting the card off with a plus 200. I am locked in. This is the one. We're on a rocket ship. And then it just all fell apart. I fell for the Shimrock fraud, unfortunately. That was one of those fade shit with shit type situations. El-Swati is not good. El-Swati is not good at all. And I thought Shim was a little bit better than he is. All flash, no substance, apparently, when he was landing some of those like fadeaway high kicks and stuff like that. I thought that would be enough to tap El-Swati on the chin and put him down. So I kind of got the performance I expected from him. I just thought there would be a little more pop in those shots. And unfortunately, he apparently doesn't carry that kind of power. But we'll fade El-Swati on the next one. I promise. I didn't have anything on the Sutherland or Petrosic fight. I actually did talk about these greasy over 1.5. So I'm a little disappointed in myself, Kyle, because for both the Montas and the Pinto fight, I was like, the only thing I could do would be to play over 1.5 at plus money. Like the numbers were crazy on these guys as favorites. I didn't trust either of them. And then I didn't bet either of those overs. And they both went the full 15 minutes. So I know a lot of people got burned on violence bets in those fights. And you know what? Props to you for hitting Nathaniel Wood. Because Wood at plus 200 should have been an auto click. I was smart enough to not do anything with Lucene. You know, I saw the red flags. I was like, big chalk favorite price tag. UFC debut technically. I was able to like avoid parlaying him. I didn't play the KO prop. So I completely dodged a bullet, and that's almost as good as cashing a ticket. But the plus 200 on Nathaniel Wood would have been super juicy, man. Props to finding your way to that one. That's huge.
Hey, I mean, Nathaniel Wood's kind of my guy. Anytime I see him at plus money, I'm interested. It's always scary going against a guy like Kieta, though, who could just take your head off in the first minute, and you know your money's just gone at that point. You don't even know if you were on the right side or not, long term.
Yeah, man, those fluky knockout spots. There's been a couple of those recently that I think have set people down the wrong path. It's funny. It's hard to recover from those, especially if you cash a ticket on one. You end up overestimating the guy for a long time. I also was a victim of the Pink Panther. Curtis Campbell was like my biggest hyped guy on the card. I was so sold that he was going to be just the dude when he came to the UFC. And frankly, I know it's all narrative stuff, right? Like it doesn't matter, but the UFC giving him like the custom pink shorts in his debut and stuff like that, they don't usually do that unless it's like a legit prospect. They don't roll that red carpet out unless it's somebody who they're excited about. So I'm like, man, love the skill set, love the training partners, love the experience, and he's got the stamp of approval from the UFC. No way that one loses, right? Right? Like how I was really pissed off when he went down, especially the way he did. Danny Silva going from back-to-back split decisions to a KO, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, had the CLV too, and he just didn't look good, really, even in the first round. I thought he won the first round, but it didn't look good. And it was close, too. At the end, I feel like Silva could have stole it. And I should have known then, man, we should just buy our way out of this live. But I was holding hope, and it didn't work out.
No, I feel you, man. I feel you. I did get 2 units. I'm sorry. I did get 1 unit down on CLD by decision. That was probably my sharpest read of the card. I think people were overrating his power after his last couple of fights. And I snagged the decision prop, got the plus money on that one. That felt good. Iwo did Austin Lane the way everybody does Austin Lane. The big issue was these next 3 fights, man. MVP and Sam Patterson. So I had the under 2.5 on Page versus Patterson. And, bro, like, people made fun of me for that. And in hindsight, I get it. because it's like, all right, like, why do you ever bet a Michael Venom Page under in 2026? And I get it. But Sam Patterson has never taken a backward step in his entire MMA career. I never expected him to come out and try to finesse Michael Page. I thought Sam was going to force the firefight that we all expected we were going to get. And the way MVP came out, I was right about him having a chip on his shoulder. He went straight forward, man. He was hunting Sam from the opening bell. It was like he actually came ready to fight for this one. And somehow it turned into one of the worst fights in UFC history. So I was really upset and disappointed about that fight.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it. I mean, I just am not an MVP fan. The guy averages 32 landed strikes per fight. I mean, that's just pathetic. I'd rather watch this guy do some work in there. He's never got an official knockdown, never had a takedown in the UFC either, no finishes. So I'm just kind of over MVP, to be honest with you. And I was done with the card at that point. I did see the CLD fight. But yeah, I guess the CLD fight was the last one I watched. I must have turned it off right after Campbell, then came back, and I was like, all right, let's give it another go. But I didn't see any of these last three.
I mean, it makes sense, dude. Luke Riley, tough call for him coming into the UFC. Michael Aswell, people kind of short the guy. He's really tough. He's really good. He's durable. So that one goes the full 15 minutes. Good win for Luke Riley, but not a showstopper performance because Aswell's tougher than people give him credit for. And then the main event, I mean, if it wasn't for the shenanigans, it went about the way you'd expect with Movsar Evloev. If you just look at, Movsar winning a decision, you'd have no idea that it was the wildest thing you've ever seen. The UFC got in his ear. Somebody told the guy, no grappling, bro. Like, if you want the title shot, you can't come out here and just lay on top of Lerryan Murphy. So he was striking for the first 10 minutes of that fight. And it was weird because I thought it was a pretty clear 2-2 split where Lerryan Murphy edged out the first 2 rounds and then Movsar won the second 2 rounds. And then we had a point deduction for a low blow. This thing was a clear runaway draw for me. But it almost feels like another one of those pre-filled out scorecard situations because the scores were overwhelmingly for Movsar. That the close rounds all went to Movsar. Even with the point deduction, people were giving it 48-47 Evloev. So, like, they really were invested in this guy winning the fight. And the judges saw it clearly to the Movsar side, and I just don't understand that. So it was a little bit weird from a fight perspective. Everyone was caught off guard by the lack of grappling and then the judges' scorecards being all over the place and the point deduction. It was a really disappointing end to what was a really disappointing card. I mean, we got Iwo sparking Austin Lane on the main card. And then the girls' fight that I bet the under 2.5 on, those were the only finishes. Oh, I forgot Louis Sutherland. Sorry. Louis did get knocked out by Petrosic. So there's 3 finishes, man. 3 finishes on the entire card. And so far, we're 3 months, full 3 months, first quarter down, UFC 2026. And it's kind of sucked, man. I hate to be the guy complaining all the time because I know everybody's complaining right now, but the UFC product just doesn't feel great right now. I don't know if you feel the same way or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the way most people feel across the board. They're definitely starving for a star in the UFC right now. They're trying to make a couple of them work, and it's just not panning out for them yet. Hopefully one will come along in the next year or two, but yeah, it's been rough. Although we didn't talk about the best fight on the card, Mason Jones versus Sola. That was a banger.
Yeah, good call. That was an absolute banger. And hey, I was saving that one for last because, guys, I did it. You asked for it, and I delivered. I faded, Marley. I bet on Jones because I said, you know what? Everything in my soul screams that I want to fade Mason Jones, and he keeps on getting me. He keeps on. If I bet on him, he loses. If I bet against him, that's when he shows up and wins. So this time, my instinct is to bet against him. I'm going to fade myself because I'm just wrong when it comes to this guy. So I actually cashed a ticket. So that was a fun one for me. And I expect everybody in the chat to be very happy that I pulled the old self-fade on Mason Jones. That was a banger of a fight. That was a good one to finish out the preliminary card. Hopefully they can make a couple matchups like that in the near future for some of these other guys.
Yeah, someone in the chat, Vice City said Jones versus Dober next. That'd be cool. I'd like that.
That would be cool. That'd be a good fight. I think that'd be a really good fight. I think actually my guy, Half the Battle, Dan Levy, was the one that offered that fight. He Mason Jones asked, "Who do you want next?" And I saw he was the one that replied with that as an option. I think that's a pretty good call. Yeah, all right, guys, let's. Oh, you know what? Ryan says, and after the White House, fights will get better in the second half of the year. I don't know, man. We're short. We're short on stars and exciting fighters at the moment. And frankly, the only thing I can say that's good about the White House is they are not going to ruin us the way UFC 300 did. You know, that was an absolute banger of a card, and it messed up the schedule for the next 3 months because they had nobody that could fight at like a high level or for a title or whatever. So with the White House card being short, at least it's not, you know, wasting the potential of future entertainment. But I don't know that it's going to just randomly pick up. I'm worried the UFC might be in a little bit of a rut for like the next 9 months or so until they get some of these guys up there. They keep rushing prospects, man. They keep hoping these guys will step up and take over, and they're just not ready yet. I mean, even guys like Benoit Saint-Denis, who are exactly the kind of guys they're looking for, that are just all action, murderous, exciting finishing fighters. He needed another year and a half to get to the point where he was ready to take over the division. Like now he's on course. Like now he might be a contender. Now maybe he can get up there and get a shot at the title, but they tried it 2 years ago and he wasn't there yet. So yeah, we're just in a weird spot right now. We'll see what ends up happening. Regardless, we got UFC Seattle to talk about. So everybody do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the show. Make sure you're giving Kyle Marley a follow, especially if you're into DFS. This man is a daily fantasy savant when it comes to MMA. And let's get into this card. First fight of the night. You've got Alexia Thainara filling in here on short notice, taking on the Fighting Nerds, Bruna, Brazil. You guys know I make no bones about it. I think Bruna Brazil kind of sucks. She's not somebody who I'm high on at all. 32 years old, 11-6-1. I will say she's training with like Luana Santos over there, so she's got good training partners. The Fighting Nerds is a good gym. They're kind of on the rise. Her whole thing is she's had cardio struggles, and at 32 years old, I kind of feel like you are who you are at this phase. I don't expect you to make massive leaps and bounds improvements in anything, whether it's the skills, the cardio, anything like that. At 32 years old, I just don't think we're going to see a huge change in what she is. Now she's kind of changed her style around, right? She used to actually spark people pre-UFC. She's got big power early, but she gasses out. If she goes hard early, she slows down and she's vulnerable late. So she's kind of turned into this low volume point striker. You know, the Molly McCann fight, I was really invested on Molly on that fight. I thought Molly was going to run her over, but she changed her style so much that she was basically just intercepting Molly anytime she came in. It was just a defensive game plan, and it allowed her to not gas out. So she was able to win a decision, but I don't think she's going to be able to do that against the better fighters in the weight class. She did get some wrestling going. She's got that in her back pocket, but if she goes too hard on that, she fades out. She's got 3 knockout losses. Chin and cardio concerns is a bit of a rough look in women's MMA. Alexia Thainara, 28 years old, 13-1. Like I mentioned, coming in here on a bit of short notice. She's 2-0 to start her UFC career. Common opponent, she smoked Molly McCann in her UFC debut. Choked her out in round 1. She beat Loma Lookboonmee in her last fight. And I know Loma's small, man. We've talked about that. Loma is a little undersized, but she's incredibly skilled, and that's allowed her to be kind of the fighter that she is and beat some of these women, even being a little bit undersized. She's like a women's MMA Nathaniel Wood. She just finds ways to win. Her technique is so good. She knows what she's doing. That's still a really freaking good win for Alexia Thainara. She's nasty. She's violent. I always think she looks like, if you guys have seen Attack on Titan, she looks like the Smiling Titan. She's got such a wide mouth with like all those teeth in there, and she's always up there flashing them at people at like the weigh-ins and the stare downs and stuff like that. She's got a creepy ass smile, but I love it. Absolutely love it. Pretty dynamic with her striking. She's raw. She's powerful. She's got pop in her hands, man, for women's MMA. Big explosive knees, chopping calf kicks. I love her style. And then she's got a BJJ black belt. She's training with Amanda Hebus. She showboats a little too much for me. So she'll get into these moments where she's MVPing it a little bit after she lands a big shot or something like that. But I'm really invested and really high on this chick as she develops here in the UFC. I'm looking forward to what she does. The one red flag I'll tell you is Bruna Brasil is alternating wins and losses literally since she stepped foot into the UFC. Man, I think we're breaking the cycle. She's coming off of a loss to Ketlin Souza, so that means she should be winning this fight. If you're just blindly following the pattern, it ain't happening. Alexia Thainara is minus 625 right now. Bruna Brasil is the plus 455 favorite. And man, the anchor is retired, Kyle. But I'm not going to lie. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to pull the anchor out for Alexia Thainara this week. Minus 625 is a tough number to swallow at the women's MMA side of things. And I just think she rolls, man. I don't think Bruna Brasil is going to have much of anything for her. And I know Alexia is going to keep on pushing. I know when this fight gets dirty in round 2 and round 3, Thainara is going to keep on coming, and she's going to smile while, Bruna Brasil gets wide-eyed as her opponent keeps rolling as she's starting to get tired and suck air and slow down. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this one. I think Thainara supremacy all day. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like Thainara here, but she is minus 625, which is an 86% implied probability. So you got to think she wins more than 86 out of 100 times for there to be any value. And Thainara has one loss on her record. That's to Bruna Brasil. She was mad green back then. I watched it. I watched at least the first 2 rounds of it. It was pretty pathetic on the Thainara side. She's just kind of walking forward, throwing really loopy punches, trying to headhunt the entire time. And Brasil is kind of like what she is now. She was doing the same exact thing, kind of being more defensive, picking a couple shots here and there, but that was enough to win back then. That's not going to be enough to win now. She just has no work rate. If she lands a takedown, she just doesn't do anything with it. She's not going to land a lot on the feet, and when she does, it's not hard strikes. So I see Thainara outworking her wherever the fight takes place. She's going to be the harder hitter. She's on better supplements than she was on originally. I just think this Thainara is better across the board at this point. I don't know that you could say that there's value at this point. With an 86% implied probability win, she already lost to this girl. So I think if you're going to bet this fight, you kind of have to pick a side whether Thainara is going to win inside the distance or if she's going to win a decision. So you kind of take the pick 'em with the decision or plus 150 if you think she's going to get a finish here. That's how I would play it, but I do think it's probably going to be clear Thainara.
I'm with you, man, and I completely agree on the betting assessment there. By decision is minus 125. You mentioned plus 150 for the inside the distance. I wish the number was juicier. Right now, Alexia Thainara by submission is plus 215. That's the way I'm looking. I hope when it gets to like DraftKings and FanDuel and all the stateside stuff, I hope that number gets pumped up a little bit because I would love to take a stab on Thainara by sub. Like I mentioned, she's a black belt. And because we've got all this video, you look on Instagram and this chick is working with Luana Santos regularly, grappling with her. I think that's the game plan. I think she's going to come out here and try and wrestle Alexia Thainara. And I think that's going to backfire. Whether it's an arm bar or like a reversal, I think she's going to get tired and slow down and then realize grappling was a poor choice. I kind of like Thainara, and I'm going to lean on the inside the distance side of things, man. She's a violent woman, and when her opponent gets tired, I think she'll look for the kill. So that's where I'm sitting. We'll see where this ends up going, and it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'll lean violence here to start the night. Next fight up, you guys, we got Ricky Simón taking on Adrian Yanez, and we've got Simón 22-7. He is 33 years old, 2-4 in his last 6 fights. He's a pressure grappler who developed some hands, man. He's got that one-shot power, apparently. I remember when he took out the Bash Bro. That was it really caught everybody off guard with that round 1 knockout of Javid Basharat. He ends up winning against Cameron Smotherman, and then loses to Hani Barcelos, the guy that just refuses to go away or die. Ronnie just hanging around for freaking ever, derailing people, man. You look at the losses from Ricky Simón, and it's Ronnie, it's Vinicius Oliveira, Mario Bautista, Song Yadong. I mean, he's really kind of fallen into a gatekeeper role at this point. His cardio and his pace, too much for people who aren't ready, right? His power, his pressure, his strength, too much for guys who aren't contenders. But if you're somebody who can contend in the top 5, the top 8, Ricky Simón doesn't seem like he's at that spot anymore. Adrian Yanez, a little bit of a weird situation, 17-6, 32 years old. You know, he's in a rough patch right now, man. He's 1-3 in his last 4. Coming off a split decision loss against Daniel Marcos, he did get his life back on track with a Venezia Salvador knockout in round 1 towards the middle there of 2024. This is going to be his first action since 2024. So another long layoff for Adrian Yanez. I couldn't figure out why that was. I don't know if maybe you know or somebody in the chat can help us out. But, man, it's tough because he had so much promise. He's got fast hands. He's a good boxer. He's got big power. It's one of those things where everybody was all in on Adrian, and then everything fell apart. He ran into Rob Font and got knocked out, something nobody saw coming. Rob doesn't tend to knock people out. He's more of a decision machine. And then he kind of brushes that one off, jumps back in there, and Jonathan Martinez leg kick TKOs him. That was brutal, man. Like, if you're at this level, you shouldn't be getting leg kick TKO'd, right? If you're a title challenger, you should know how to check a couple leg kicks. And he just didn't. I mean, he went through that whole phase where his coach, who was kind of his father figure, passed away, and he was running the gym instead of being a fighter there. And I understand, like, the personal pressure that put a lot on his plate, and he really wasn't dealing with it well. He didn't have coaches to run his camps for him anymore. So I think that has a lot to do with the slide. The fight with Daniel Marcos was close. It was competitive. It was good. I can't really complain too much about a close split decision against a guy who's got an unblemished record in the UFC. That was a good fight, but he's got to win this one. And the year-long layoff, that's a big question mark for me. And it kind of scares me away a little bit as far as picking him outright to win a fight in 2026. It's a close line, man. Ricky Simón, -155. Adrian Yanez, +130. There were days where we talked about Ricky Simón being a little fragile, a little chinny. I don't know if he got better supplements or something like that, but that kind of hasn't been a thing lately. I thought Vinicius Oliveira was going to be able to crack him and put him down. That didn't happen. It's since Song Yadong all the way in round 5 since he's been knocked out. So I don't know that the chinny claim is there. I don't know that's something we can really put any weight on. But when Adrian Yanez wins fights, man, usually it's by knockout. 11 wins by KO. If he comes correct, he's got power. And if he can sprawl and brawl, I think he can knock out Ricky Simón. But I don't think I can trust him with my money at this point, man. So I don't know. I'm tempted to pick Adrian Yanez as an underdog this week. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I actually like the underdog side of this one. This is one of my favorite fights on the card.
Great.
Looking forward to this one. I think Simón is, like, he used to be one of my favorite DraftKings type of fighters because he had that heavy wrestling pace where he might not control the fight a ton on the ground. His opponent might get up, but he's landing a takedown shortly after, and it's just mat return after mat return. I love that kind of fighting, but it's really been like 4 or 5 years since we've seen that Ricky Simón. And I think that he gives up on the takedowns a little easier now. And if he's given up on takedowns in this fight against Adrian Yanez, I think Yanez is going to kind of pick him apart with his hands. He's got the better boxing for sure, throws at way better angles or that Simón might not see coming. He's going to be more dangerous, maybe not more one-punch power, but I still think he's more dangerous with his hands overall. So I think maybe Simón does get a little bit of wrestling success, but give me 2 rounds over to Yanez. I think this will be a close fight, back and forth, and it's really just give me the plus money side either way. If the line were to somehow completely shift, then I would have picked Simón. But I think that Yanez can keep this fight on the feet long enough to win 2 rounds.
Okay. Yeah, man. He's got
like you mentioned.
Yanez has a 81% takedown defense rating, which looks pretty good. It is a little concerning looking at his last fight. Daniel Marcos went 2 of 4 on his takedowns and managed 3 minutes and 23 seconds of control time. So that's just a little concerning to me because Daniel Marcos, not much of a offensive grappler in the UFC. He averages just over 1 takedown per 15-minute fight in the UFC. So maybe it caught Yanez off guard a little bit, right? Maybe he wasn't ready for that game plan coming into that fight. That's entirely possible. The 81% takedown defense is inspiring for sure, but he's fought a relatively rough level of competition and nobody who's really looks to go in there and grapple him. I mean, Rob Font, Jonathan Martinez, Tony Kelly, Davey Grant. He's mostly been fighting striker versus striker matchups. So I wouldn't trust that 81% fully. I lean with you. I'm leaning dog or pass here in this spot, but it's a really tough fight. It's probably one that personally I'm going to end up passing on just because there's so many questions about both of these guys and where they're at physically right now. I will wish you luck. Maybe I'll end up jumping in later in the week. Not right now, but maybe I'll jump in with you a little bit later in the week. Real quick, I want to shout out my guy, Rob Stirling, in the chat. Says, I don't even bet. I'm just a big fan of the sport and enjoy watching your breakdowns. Thank you very much, Rob. That is awesome because really that's the point of the show, right? I'm a degenerate. I want to bet. I try to make it as clear as possible to you guys. I am not a professional. Do not tail me expecting to make a fortune because, frankly, I've been losing my ass for the last 2 years. I do this for fun. I do this because I enjoy it. I do it because I'm a degenerate, and I try to put on a good show for you guys. So I appreciate you tuning in. I'm glad you really like the breakdowns. That really is awesome, and I hope more people feel the same way as well. Thank you guys for the support. I appreciate it. Speaking of the support, holy shit, we've already got 240 live viewers across all platforms. Thank you all so much for being in here, you guys. Smash that like button. Make sure you're checking out my guy, Big Marley. Check out his links in the description below, and let's keep talking about UFC Seattle. And Purple Adam right below that says, I wonder how much Clint's getting paid to give us bad advice. That's the best part, baby. I do it for free. Next up, Navajo Stirling taking on Bruno Lopes. One of the more exciting prospects in the UFC right now. We were just talking about how the UFC kind of needs stars and they need to develop some guys. Navajo might be on that short list, man. He's from New Zealand. He's 8-0 undefeated, 28 years old, out of City Kickboxing. He's coming off a big win over Rodolfo Bellato, 3-fight win streak in the UFC. Honestly, man, I'm a little disappointed because he looked like he had the death touch, man. Pre-UFC, this guy was sparking everybody. Now, I know he's young. I know he's young in his career. You got to give these guys time to develop as they kind of step up into the ranks of the UFC. So I get that. But I need a knockout, Navajo. Like, it's time, buddy. You got 3 wins in the UFC, all of them by decision. It's time to remind everybody why you got signed in the first place. He's got big hooks, nasty elbows. He's young and developing, and I'm really excited about him. I love the way he rips at the body. He keeps a good pace for a big guy. I think this is the one where he maybe turns the corner, man. His opponent, Bruno Lopes, 32 years old, 3-fight win streak was snapped by a round 1 KO loss to Dustin Jacoby, I believe, in his last fight. And he's had a couple of tough looks, man, as far as getting knocked out. And losing by knockout to Dustin Jacoby. Before that, losing by knockout to Brinson Haberio. That's an even worse look. This guy's a 2-time Contender Series contestant. And my whole thing with these 2 times Dana White Contender Series guys is I think they're cannon fodder. If it takes you 2 attempts on Dana White's Contender Series to make it to the big show, I just don't think you're going to hack it, man. I don't think they're very good. That's a big red flag for him to be sparked early by Jacoby and be knocked out by Haberio and be on the Contender Series twice. This guy's got fade written all over him for me. He's a good, capable scrambler. He keeps a high pace. He works off the body lock, but he seems more like a wild man than he is a tactician. So if he can't get the grappling going in this spot, I don't think he's going to be able to handle what's coming back the other way, man. I like Navajo Stirling here, and like I said, I think it's time. I think Navajo gets on track here with a knockout.
Yeah, I agree. I think Navajo kind of has him beat across the board. Lopes is going to need to wrestle in this one, control as much top time as he possibly can in order to win a decision. I mean, I guess he could land a knockout on the feet. That's his really only chance striking. But Stirling's going to pick him apart. The longer this fight goes, I think it's just going to start to wear on him. And I see him getting a knockout before the 3rd round hits. He's just going to be a lot better on this than this guy. Levels above him, and I think he's big enough, strong enough to keep it on the feet too.
Okay. Yeah, so you and I are kind of seeing that one the same way. Love to hear it. We are just cranking through this thing, my guy. Let's see. Ryan says Sherman is going to get another decision. No, please, no. Please, no more decisions. I can't handle it. Honestly, if you guys are parlaying up anti-violence out there, You're just printing. That's the way to go right now. All these decision props, man. It is just printing money. Shout out my guy Premium Picks saying hit the like button. Appreciate you. And I saw my guy Dan Half the Battle in here saying the same thing earlier. So appreciate both of you guys as well. Vic, appreciate you as well, my guy. Let's keep it freaking rolling. Women's MMA action, hot off the presses up here next, man. The return of King Casey O'Neill. She takes on Gabriela Fernandez. And I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with King Casey. Just being on MMA Twitter, these fighters every once in a while find their way to something that you said once or twice. And she came after me, man. It was funny. She actually ended up blocking me for a while there. And I was like, no, I swear I'm a fan. Like it was after the whole Roxanne Modafferi thing. If you guys remember, she makes her UFC debut and she looks like the next big thing. She rattles off 3 straight wins, and then the UFC throws poor Roxanne Modafferi in her retirement fight to Casey O'Neill. And Roxy was one of my old favorite fighters, right? I just absolutely loved her to death. The tenacity she had for somebody with 0 athletic skills. I love fighters like that. So I was in on Roxy, and I didn't think Casey was quite ready. I actually took a shot on her. She was like plus 350 or something like that going into the fight. And would you believe it? It went to a split decision. Like that was an extremely close fight. Roxanne boxed up Casey O'Neill that night and made that fight very close, very competitive. And dude, it was really, really funny. But she ends up getting the split. She gets the win. And like I said, she ends up taking offense to me betting on Roxanne Modafferi, blocks me. She moves out to Fight Ready, which, as you guys know, Phoenix Gym here. I was a big advocate for them. I was all excited, and I felt like it was the perfect place for her to go. But frankly, she struggled since then. She dropped the next 2 fights against Jennifer Maia and Ariane Lipski, another situation where the UFC rushed a potential prospect. But it's not a great look. She got boxed up by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Jennifer Maia, and then she got submitted by Ariane Lipski, who is basically, evens in the UFC at this point and doesn't have a chin. And she was a decision machine when she was winning. Like, it was just a really rough look for her. Now, she had some injury concerns and things like that. Long layoff. She comes back. We cashed a plus money ticket with her against Luana Santos in her last fight. But that was August of 2024, you guys. We're in another situation where she's coming off another long layoff. And again, Kyle, I couldn't figure out why. I don't know if you guys in the chat can maybe help me out. I don't know why she's had this long layoff at this point. She's got good boxing. She's got serviceable wrestling. She keeps a good pace. I like how mean she is. That's definitely something you want in your MMA fighters. But with what's happening over at Fight Ready right now, the coaching shift, the fighters leaving, I was trying to figure out what's going on with her right now, and she deactivated her Instagram. So I couldn't even figure out what's going on with her as far as her training conditions right now. So big question marks right now around King Casey O'Neill. Gabriela Fernandez is 11-3, 32 years old, and she looks really, really good right now, man. 3-fight win streak. The wins are aging pretty damn well, I must say. She got a split decision over Carly Judice. That one is aged like fine wine. She knocked out Kong Wang, or I guess technically she club and subbed her, but Kong Wang was a big star, someone the UFC was excited about and is still working to rebuild after that. Her last fight against Julija Stolyarenko, I mean, no surprises there that she won that one, but Gabby is big. She's well muscled. She's thick. Like, she can strike. She's got power. The way she rocked Kong Wang with, I think, a head kick right before she grabbed her neck and tapped her out, that was impressive. The 2 losses come by way of bully. Jasmine Jasudavicius and Teresa Bleda, you guys. She wasn't able to hang with the wrestling pace. Bleda took her down 3 times and got almost 11 minutes of control time. Jazz took her down 4 times and got 11 minutes and 31 seconds of control time. She's got a 68% takedown defense. You guys know my key is 70 or higher, right? I want 70% or higher on the takedown defense. Now, those 2 women basically ruined her takedown defense rating, but it's clear there's a path to victory here with the grappling. Kyle, my whole thing, though, I don't think King Casey's wrestling. She's got it in her back pocket. She mixes it into her fights. But she doesn't come out with her singlet on. She averages 7.8 significant strikes per minute. She's a striker. She wants to come out and box. She wants to throw hands. So it's a tough spot where I'm like, I would like to go back to war with Casey O'Neill, but part of me also feels like Gabby is a little bit underrated. And I don't know that Casey's going to follow the right game plan. And I lost money on an under 2.5 with Sam Patterson and MVP because nobody followed the game plan, right? That fight set up for violence really well in my mind. And they decided to come out and not touch each other. I'm worried she's going to come out and box. If she wrestles, I think she wins relatively easily. Casey O'Neill is plus 115, the underdog. Gabby Fernandez is minus 135. It's a close, competitive line. Big setup, went a little long. I apologize. I need your thoughts, man. Because like I said, I really want to go dog on this one. I want to stay true to my girl, King Casey, and cash another dog ticket with her. I just don't know if I should trust her at this.
Yeah, I don't have a real read on this one. I think it's just a plus money side either way for me. So I'm okay with King Casey because she does have a high work rate. I think she could win this fight just based on work rate alone. Fernandez is going to be the better striker, especially early in the fight. She's going to be more dangerous as well. If there's a knockout, it's going to come from the Fernandez side. I think she could pick Casey apart, especially in round one, but that should lead to Casey looking for takedowns. And that is Fernandez's biggest weakness, is being taken down, being on her back. And I think Casey could hold her down long enough to where she keeps the striking close. Maybe Fernandez has a little bit of an edge there, but then she gets a takedown and she holds 2 minutes of top control time, lands some good ground and pound. I think that steals the round for her. So it's really just a plus next to her name that's making me pick O'Neill in this one. I think it's just going to be a really close back and forth fight. I'd prefer to take if I was going to bet this fight, I'd rather just do like minus 190, fight goes the distance and hope that Gabby doesn't finish her. I always feel like most women fights are going to go the distance. Minus 200 is a little bit lower than I thought I was going to see for this fight. But I just don't know who the hell is going to win this one. I think Fernandez is your better fighter. She just doesn't strike as much as I would like her to strike. And I think that Casey could end up doubling her up if she's not eating big shots along the way. And maybe she could just win on volume alone if it is a striking match. So I see it being a pick 'em fight. So give me the plus money. I'll take O'Neill.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, man. And I want to, dude. I've got my finger hovering over the dog of the week button here. I don't know if I want to click it or not, because Casey's been good to me, especially in this dog role. It does look like the line is flipped. I believe she was the favorite when this line opened up. Let me double check that, you guys. I want to make sure that's accurate information before I give that to you. I'm seeing pick'ems. I'm seeing a U shape. Okay, so no, I'm not seeing anywhere where she was actually the favorite. It looks like she opened plus 115, got bet to about minus 130 or so, and now it's come back the other way to her being around plus 115. So it looks like she opened dog, got bet to favorite, and came back to dog. So interesting, really interesting on the line move so far on this one. Lean dog or pass, man. If she wrestles, easy win. She can out volume her on the feet for sure. I just got to worry about her health. Tyga absolutely is kind of reading my mind here. She hasn't fought in a while, and she's got a history of injuries. I'm worried she's not physically healthy, man. That is kind of the big thing. And I know I highlighted it a minute ago. Shout out MMA Locker Room says Casey done her camp at the old gym in Thailand. She left fight ready when Santino left. So, guys, make sure you check that out. Mills does do fighter interviews and stuff like that. So he apparently has an interview up with her. So good knowledge from him. Thank you very much for passing that along, man. Really appreciate it. That's good to note. Now, I don't remember what gym she was at beforehand. So I don't know if it's like a well-known gym. I don't know if it's, Tiger Muay Thai or anything like. I'll have to look that up and see where she was. Yeah, Nicholas saying Casey's chin scares me. I think Club and Sub is live. It definitely is. And the big thing is I don't want to disrespect Gabriela Fernandez, because what she's been doing recently is great. She's on a 3-fight win streak. So, I mean, why are we looking to doubt her? You know what I mean? It's more of looking to ride plus money with somebody who I've had success with in the past. And I don't know if that's a good enough reason to actually put my hard-earned money on her. So it's dog or pass for now. We'll see. We'll go from there. Next up, we've got Marcin Tybura, and he takes on Tyrell Fortune. Interesting fight here, man. I can't wait to break this one down with you here. So Tyrell, you guys, is 35 years old, 17-3. He's a PFL and Bellator veteran. He actually lost in the PFL via heel hook not too long ago, went to the regional scene and won both of the Rough and LXC heavyweight titles. So he fought for Rough. He's the heavyweight champion currently. He's a Spectation Sports athlete, so shout out Spectation Sports. We're definitely rooting for him to do well here at this point. Got himself a 3-fight win streak and gets the UFC call. He's big, he's quick for a heavyweight, good hips, decent takedown defense, decent balance. He's got fast hands, but he's low volume, man. He's got a boxing heavy attack. He does have some Derek Lewis in him where like he throws that big head kick every once in a while and just kind of shuffles his way forward. But I went back and I watched some of his older fights. Now he's got a pretty good record, 17-3, right? His losses to Tim Johnson and then Linton Vassell. Linton was able to take him down, and while he couldn't really do anything with it, he like immediately slices his way to mount. I mean, just like baby's first day on the mats type of grappling. Like he had no problem advancing position the second that it hit the mat. Vessel was threatening with chokes and all that. He couldn't really catch him in a sub or anything like that. But anytime he hit a takedown, he dominated this guy, and Tyrell really had no way to get back up to his feet. So I'm worried he's a little bit of a turtle on the mat. Marcin Tybura is 27-10. He's 40 years old. And like we always talk about, heavyweight gatekeeper. You know, he beats everybody that isn't ready to challenge for a title at this point. It's been of a little bit of a rough run for him. 2-2 in his last 4. He got fluke armbarred by Sergey Spivak. He got knocked out recently by Ante Dalia. He did go on a pretty good run there, though, beating guys like Taito Avasa, Jonathan Denise, and Mick Parkins. Like I mentioned, gatekeeper, right? Like the guys who aren't very good, the guys that are mid to low level, he's going to beat them. The biggest edge for Marcin Tybura is his grappling, man. He's a big, heavy dude. He knows what to do once he gets on top of you, and he's just pressure nonstop from there. BJJ black belt, good ground and pound. And I mean, this guy can be a savage if he gets on top of you.
Breaths from Jonathan Janice, ate a couple big elbows.
Oh, big elbow. Busted him open. Oh, boy. This might be it.
Yeah, her team's trying to close the distance. Oh, another massive elbow.
No, Jonata is nothing on his back, dude. But the whole reason I talked all of this up is because I think he's going to do the same damn thing to Tyrell. If he gets popped on the jaw, he's got chin problems. This guy's been knocked out 6 times. He's coming off a KO loss to Ante. But the big thing is the speed. Like Ante's hands are so clean and so smooth. That guy can box. That guy's quick. Tyrell being low volume and winding up for one big shot here and there, I don't think Marcin's going to fall for that. And coming off a knockout loss, I think Marcin's smart enough to shoot for doubles, man. I think he's smart enough to get this thing to the ground. I know Tyrell's been knocking people out on the regional scene, but this is like a middle of the deep end jump that he's taking into the UFC in his debut. And we've seen he can't grapple with guys in lower organizations. I think Marcin is the side here, and frankly, I'm surprised at the number. So Marcin Tybura is plus 110, Tyrell is minus 130, and Marcin I think was plus 105 a little bit earlier. So it looks like money is actually coming in on Tyrell. What am I missing, Kyle? Because I'm looking at this, and I feel like we should all jointly be understanding that Marcin Tybura is going to take this 35-year-old boxer down and out-grapple him.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of favor Tybura in this one, but the issue is he's 40 years old and he's been knocked out like 6 times in his career. I think all the round 1 equity is on the fortune side of this one. You kind of just have to hope that Tybura can eat the punches early and survive. And the longer this fight goes, I think it shifts into Tybura's favor. I watched one of Tyrell's fights where he was getting double legs, just hanging out in top control pretty much the entire fight. I don't really see him doing that to Tybura. I think Tybura is the better overall grappler in this one. The next fight I saw of Tyrell was he knocked out Tony Lopes. Tony Lopes is like 85 years old now at this point. I wasn't impressed with that one. And then in his last fight, he beat some dude who weighed in at 286 pounds. Guy was like 40% body fat. And he didn't even look good against that guy. So I just don't understand what we're seeing in Tyrell to make him the favorite, I think it's more we're fading Tybura rather than betting on Tyrell. But for me, I need to do a little bit more research into this fight and kind of maybe understand it myself. But I think the favorite in this one should be Tybura. So he's somebody I'm looking at possibly betting in this one.
Okay. And man, I agree with you. And honestly, it's as simple as that for me. Is I firmly believe that Tybura should be favored by the betting line. Unless he's injured coming into this fight or something like that, he absolutely should be the favorite in this spot. And because of that, he's my Link Memorial dog of the week, you guys. I'm going to be pulling the trigger on Marcin Tybura. I'm a little nervous about the line continuing to widen the other direction. I'm not going to lie. Maybe somebody knows something, but I can't help it. You know, Marcin Tybura has just been a money printer at the mid-range at the UFC level, and I don't know that this guy is mid-range at the UFC level. I know he's got pop in his hands, but if that fails, what then? I think Marcin can strike with him, and Marcin's got a massive advantage grappling with him. I just don't see why he isn't the favorite. Got to go. That, you know, as always, I'm telling you guys where I'm going to put my money, but you guys don't have to do what I'm doing. It's funny, Kyle. Somebody was asking me about this online, and I was like, it's like food, man. I'm going to order a pizza tonight. You can go get sushi if you want to. Nobody's making you order pizza with me. If you want to order pizza and beer with me, we can hang out and have a good time, but nobody's making you. You do your own thing. Take the information we provide and use that to make some more intelligent bets. Good luck to anybody who's doing anything, whether you tail or fade on this one, but I got to rock with the old dog, man. Marcin Tybura for me. And Ryan immediately says, no!
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary one, but I mean, if you're lining this fight, if they're going to fight 100 times, I mean, how often is Tybura really getting knocked out in round one? I don't know that it's enough for him to be the underdog overall. So, I mean, I think you're on the right side. If it does widen more, then I'll be on there with you as well. I don't know that there's enough value for me to play it yet because I don't trust Tybura's chin, but he's definitely the value side if there is one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. We'll see if you get there with me. I hope it doesn't widen too much more because that means I probably made a bad bet and somebody knows he broke his ankle or something. So I'll cross my fingers it hangs right around this plus 110, but I think I'm going to move on it. We'll see. Maybe, you know what? It might be wise for me to sit tight. It might be wise for me to sit and see if it goes to plus 115 or plus 120 because it's already moving that way a little bit. I want plus money, but I also don't want to miss out on a better number if it's going to keep chugging that direction. So might sit on my hands here for at least a minute. Next fight up, you guys. Chase Hooper. It is Chase Hooper fight week. And oh man, I apologize. The shirt's dirty. I forgot to wear the Chase Hooper round 3 shirt. You guys, that's bad juju. That's on me. That's my bad. We'll have to get it for like the Friday show going or something like that. My man, Chase the Dream Hooper back in action after a severely disappointing outing against Alexander Hernandez that just absolutely ruined my soul.
Oh! Alexander Hernandez! Huge shot by Hernandez.
I've been on Chase Hooper since he made it to the UFC. Like I mentioned, we've got the round 3 memorial shirt when I cashed the round 3 TKO prop. I mean, like, I love this kid. I've been going to war with Chase Hooper since he got here. And dude, I was all set and ready to fade Alexander Hernandez. I was not expecting him to come out with that kind of game plan. And it turns out the striking improvements Chase Hooper has made, he hasn't figured out how to move his head. So I've been talking up how he's been working with Wonder Boy. The karate's looking better. The range is good. But he's such a string bean, man. He doesn't get any respect with his strikes on the feet. It's all flare. It's all flash. He still needs to get you to the mat. He still needs to tie you into a pretzel. But the floor is lava with this kid. He's so good grappling. You really do not want to end up tangled with him because whether it's back control, whether it's him reversing and rolling to the mount, whether it's him using those unnaturally spindly limbs for ground and pound, like it really is just filthy what he can do on the mat.
Oh, he cut him up. Triangle. He cut him up while he's getting smashed. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he just said his fight's done. He ain't going nowhere.
Triangle from top position, elbows to the forehead, like That's nasty work. So I love Chase Hooper. He's sticking around at 155 even after getting sparked by Alexander Hernandez. And the UFC is throwing him Lance Gibson Jr. 9-2, 31 years old. He is coming from Bellator. And frankly, he looks decent, man. I mean, he got knocked out at the end of his Bellator run by Vladimir Tokov. He made his UFC debut on short notice against Bobby Green. It went to a split. It's one of those fights that realistically probably not a split, but somebody gave him credit for winning the fight, pissed off Bobby Green. It was pretty funny watching the interaction between those two when the scorecards got called, because that should have been a unanimous Bobby Green fight. Let's not kid ourselves here. His game is pretty decent as far as he's very defensive, right? Lots of footwork, really quick movements. He likes to skirt the outside, lots of kicks. He'll take the kicks up high. He'll go body. He'll go head. He doesn't like to engage. He doesn't like to get hit very much, and he's pretty good at being defensively solid that way. He's got a good sprawl. He's got good hips. But I'll say the thing I'm seeing, Kyle, is that he's stiff. I think that he's exactly the kind of guy that Chase Hooper can get to the mat on like a second attempt. On that first sprawl, he gets his hips back real good. You're not going anywhere. Seems like he's got okay, wrestling in that spot. But Chase is the kind of guy that'll fold himself in half and then shift off to the side and then roll to take your back or so. You know what I mean? He'll do these weird little things after that initial shot that I think will be successful against Lance Gibson Jr. And then if they are striking, Lance is a guy who's going to stay on the outside and try and pick him apart from that range. I am scared to death of going back to the well with Chase Hooper as a favorite, because that burned me bad last time. He's minus 245. Lance Gibson is plus 200. I think I got to ride or die with Chase here. I just don't know if I like the number, man. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't like the number because Gibson's the better striker and the better wrestler in this one. Chase can hang volume-wise if it is a striking match, but he's not a good striker, and he's not going to want to eat many punches. Gibson's going to be the bigger, stronger guy, the better athlete. But he's another work rate issue kind of guy where he's not going to do a whole lot of work on the feet, and he's also going to be scared about Chase getting on his back. And Chase isn't going to out-wrestle him, but he might just take his back while he's standing, and he's just an amazing submission grappler. And, he could tie him up. He could backpack him for a while, win rounds that way. But Chase at like plus 215 for submission, I think that's the way I'd want to play this one. I think that's going to be the biggest edge in this entire fight, will be his submission grappling over Gibson's whatever he wants to do. I mean, if he wants to strike, it's just going to be a boring striking match. If he's just stuffing takedowns and keeping this on the feet, he's not going to have a whole lot of volume himself. Unless he's knocking Chase out, I guess that would be okay. But Chase needs to sell out for takedowns. Not even takedowns, like grab this guy's ankle and get him to the ground somehow. It won't be traditional wrestling. But I think Chase is the higher ceiling fighter, the better prospect, the scarier guy, just based on his submissions alone. So give me Chase to get a submission. But right now he's sitting at a 71% implied probability, and I don't like that when you don't have a wrestling or a striking edge. So give me the submission prop instead.
Man, is this the kind of guy he might be able to strike with, though? Like the way Lance just like constant footwork and dipping off and then throwing a kick to the body or the calf. Like, I feel like, Hernandez is a pocket boxer, a little tank of a man with a massive back and big power. That's kind of worst case scenario for Chase Hooper. This is the guy he might actually be able to kick a little bit with, don't you think?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Just he will be the higher work rate on the feet. It's just not going to look pretty. I don't know what the judges are going to think if this is a 15-minute striking match and he doubles them up on strikes, but the other guy's the one throwing the harder shots and the more traditional striking as well. So I could see it kind of going either way if it is a 15-minute striking match. But you got to worry about the power from Gibson if you're a guy like Chase who's been knocked down over and over in the UFC. So I think Chase will be selling out to get this fight to the ground, and that's what everybody wants to see.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there for sure. And I do think that from what I've seen, Lance looks like he slows down a bit. Am I imagining that? Do you see him kind of slowing down in round 2 and round 3? Because I could see Chase just kind of having a rough first round, tiring him out, and then taking over and getting him to the mat in the second or the third.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that as well. I mean, he's got, the muscles to where those muscles are going to take energy away from him the more he does. And he's just not, that's probably why he isn't a high output type of guy, because he will slow down as the fight moves along. I mean, Chase definitely won't slow down. So maybe if it is in the third round and he wants to strike with this guy, maybe then is the time. But man, I just hate seeing Chase get punched in his face. He doesn't eat it very well.
He does not. And that's, we raved about his stupid levels of durability, man. These curly-headed fucks, they're hard to knock out. And he just ate punishment constantly. But at 155, man, I know not everybody punches the way Alexander Hernandez does, but that was an ugly look for him to eat the shot and collapse the way he did. So I'm worried a little bit that the power at 155 might be too much for him to eat those kind of shots, even though he was incredibly successful tanking damage at 145 pounds. It may not be the case at 155 pounds. So really sketchy fight. I am very tempted on Chase. He's been good to me. Overall, we've done well with him since, he's been in the UFC. But those big L's hurt when he drops the ball as a minus 300 favorite. So I'm not rushing to the window to get this one back, but that is the way that I lean. Next up, we've got Ignacio Bahamondes, and he takes on Tofiq Musayev. Interesting fight here, man. Bahamondes is a prospect that I'm pretty excited about. 28 years old, 17-6, 3-fight win streak, all finishes in the first round, snapped when he got to step up in competition against Rafael Fiziev. Man, this guy knows how to stay long. He knows how to punish you at range. Flashy striking, knees, elbows, spinning attacks. He's got the long, lanky limbs where he can club and sub, training out of Valley Flow, striking, working with my guy Bilal. Like, love to see everything basically about this kid at this point. He's in the right place. Obviously, they know what they're doing. Good supplementation, good game plan. All of it looks good, except the problem, he's failed the exact same test 3 times in a row. Bahamondes has a type, you guys. Short, tanky fighters that close the pocket and they rush into range. Those guys, he just doesn't know how to stop. Fiziev, Klein, McDessie. These boxing heavy strikers who just get right in his face and back him up and punch him in the jaw. Those are the 3 guys that he's lost to in the UFC. Those are the guys that he struggles with. If you've got, some body parity going on, if you're tall, if you're long, those are the guys he doesn't seem to have a problem with. He took out Jalen Turner in the first round. He took out Miguel Torres in the first round. This guy head kicked Christos Giagos, right? Even had a tough time with Trey Ogden, who's known for being extremely durable. But that guy, he was able to keep at range. And I remember that fight, man, because Ogden just kind of gave up. He was like, all right, everybody else getting finished by this kid, not me. He just took the L. He was like, I'm going to stay at range and let you kick my leg until the judges get in here, because he didn't want any part of it. So if your game is not crash the pocket, Ignacio has got he's got you covered, right? That's the way to beat this guy. Now Tofiq, this guy is 22-6. He is 36 years old, and he's a barn burner type of fighter, you guys. He's got 18 wins by knockout. Bellator transplant once again. This guy made his UFC debut against the worst fighter possible. My guy, Miktabek Orobai. He drew that in his UFC debut, and that was a tough start to his career. Got taken down, got Kamurd in the very first round. Good times. He's a big finisher. He likes his right hand. That's his main weapon. He's got fast hooks. And the issue that I've got is he can't deal with grapplers for the most part, right? Strong hips, good sprawl. But he's been subbed. He got stuck in a lot of submissions in some of his tape. If you go back and you watch, one of the weirdest fights that he's ever been in was a high-profile fight in Risen against Pitbull. And guys, I talked about this last time. I found the clip for you because it was the weirdest thing. It was an extremely competitive fight, and it looked like Pitbull probably had the upper hand. And then Tofiq straight up wheelbarrows Pitbull out of the ring. And he sprained his shoulder or something. And the entire fight shifted after that. Tofiq ends up going on to win it. But it's the most ridiculous thing in a sanctioned fight I think I've ever seen. I mean, legitimate WWE. Get the fuck out of my ring, kid. He shoves him out. And Pitbull was never the same after that moment. So while Tofiq is good, I do think he's a little bit more flash than substance. He's got a long run. He's 36 years old. He will come out for a firefight in this spot, but he's been submitted 4 times. And like I mentioned, you've got Ignacio working with my boy Bilal. I think the club and sub is going to be live. I think the grappling is going to be live. I think this is a spot where I like the young kid. I think that Ignacio Bahamondes kind of bounces back. And even though it's a dangerous fight, I do feel like the UFC is giving a fighter that Ignacio potentially can look good against and kind of recapture some of that hype. Ignacio is a minus 300 favorite. Tofiq is the plus 250 underdog. I think this fight is a little hairy early, but I do think Ignacio ends up getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, another one where I don't love the line on Ignacio, but I do think he is the side that's going to win anyways. Musayev, I'd say he's got more one-punch power than this guy. If he is crashing forward, landing big shots, maybe he could knock out Bahamondes on the feet. But Musayev is more of a headhunter with his punches. He doesn't mix in a whole lot of other things, whereas Bahamondes is just a better overall striker. He's going to mix in a lot of leg kicks. He's going to be mixing it into the body as well. And then he's going to be punching him in the face too. But the longer this fight goes, I think Bahamondes kind of walks away with it. Once he sees what Musayev has on the feet early, I think he'll be able to catch on. And then in my opinion, the biggest worry would be Musayev getting takedowns. I think he was most impressive with his ground and pound when he was getting in close, getting clinches, and taking the guy to the ground. Once he was on the ground, his ground and pound was fierce. So I think I'd be more worried about him doing that and finishing him that way rather than being on the feet. But I think first round could be close, and then Bahamondes kind of rolls with it after that and maybe gets a late finish of his own. Better prospect as well. I mean, Musayev is like 36 years old at this point. I feel like we've probably seen the best from him, and it's going to be against worse competition than he's going to be fighting moving forward. So give me Bahamondes.
Okay. Yeah, man, you and I are definitely seeing this fight about the same way. Pre-flop, you got to eat the chalk, right? Like, unless you're a live bettor, unless you've got access to this thing as you go. It was unfortunate, man. This weekend, I had to go out and visit my grandpa, you guys, the one that had the stroke. Good news, by the way, grandpa update. He's doing amazing. It's insane. This guy doesn't look like he missed a beat. He's like a little weaker than he used to be, but it's crazy. He can do everything that he used to do, essentially, after having a stroke at like 92 years old. The most insane recovery I've ever seen in my life. Hopefully, I've got a strong amount of his genes running through my body because the man is indestructible. But we were in California, so I couldn't live bet. Like I couldn't get in on the Nathaniel Wood obvious decision that was coming barreling down at us in that spot, right? If you don't have access to live betting, you got to eat the chalk early on this one. And that minus 300 number, it's just like Chase Hooper, scares the shit out of me. I don't want, like, what I'm looking at here is a parlay, right? Chase Hooper and Ignacio Bahamondes, and like, I think these guys win, but there is just so much room for that parlay to go wrong. Like, that gets you minus 115. That's an even money style parlay. That's the kind of thing I like to put together. And I could see one of those two legs busting and shitting the bed. So be careful. Try to avoid the landmines. If you've got live betting, maybe that's the best path here on this one. But I do like Ignacio Bahamondes here this week. We'll see what ends up happening. Yeah, thank you guys for the hell yeah and the W Gramps and stuff. I appreciate it. I know you guys were looking out for me when all that was going on, so I love and appreciate the support from you guys. It means the world to me. Let's keep it rolling. Next up, T-Rex and Kyle the Monster Nelson. Oh baby. So, Kyle, this is the weirdest fight for me. Terrance McKinney is the most round one or bust fighter in UFC history, right? This guy is 17-8. He's 31 years old, and the UFC is never going to cut him because he is must-see TV no matter what. They said, guys, come out here, give max effort, and go out there and look for a finish. And if you die on your shield, thanks for playing. And he said, yes, sir, no problem. That's how he lives his life. He is 3-3 in his last 6 fights. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, one of those mixed in there is a grappling match. So technically he's 4-2 in his last 6 MMA fights. And you guessed it, you guys, all round one. Every single one of them. Knocks out Mike Breedeen in round 1. Knocks out Brendan Marlowe in round 1. Gets knocked out by Esteban Ribovics in 40 seconds. Knocks out Damir Hadzovic in round 1. Subs Slava Claus in round 1. Gets subbed by Chris Duncan in round 1. Like, it used to be that you had to drag this guy to round 2. I remember cashing a massive ticket on Ismail Bonfim, getting this guy into the second round and finishing him there. That was one of the best reads I had made for that year. That was way back in 2023, back when I could actually hit a bet gambling on MMA, right? But since then, like, the script is even narrowed further than that, man. You don't even need round 2 anymore. This guy's getting taken out in round 1 now. Now, it really is a mixed bag for his opponents, right? Chris Duncan, Esteban Ribovics, Nazim Sadikov, Ismail Bonfim. Yeah, those are the guys beating him. Okay, that makes sense. The guys he's beating, none of them are in the UFC anymore. Unfortunately, Slava's not with us anymore, right? Damir Hadzovic, not with us anymore. Brendan Marlowe, forgot that guy was even here. Mike Breedeen, no chance. So he really is kind of barely hanging on to a UFC caliber job right now, even though he's got everything you want in a fighter, right? He's explosive. He's got decent boxing. He's got big power in his hands. He's an underrated grappler. I don't feel like he goes to his grappling often enough. He did pull that out of the bag against Slava Claus. He got that sub. I know a lot of people died on the knockout prop hill that night, which was unfortunate for the gambling community. So you've always got to watch out with T-Rex because the sub prop is live. Kyle Nelson is one of my nemesis. I can't stand this guy. And it's mostly because he costs me money every time, Kyle. Whether it's for or against, he's one of these guys I can't get right. If there was another spot to do a self-fade of the week, this would be that spot. He's 17, 6-1. He's 34 years old, and he's been doing nothing but print for people that believed in him, man. In his last 5 fights, he is 4-1. His only loss coming to Steve freaking Garcia, and that guy is on a rocket ship. Steve Garcia is ready to potentially challenge for a title very soon. Now, that fight sent him up a weight class after getting knocked out. That has been kind of his Achilles heel. He's got 3 knockout losses. I always said that he was a little bit chinny. He was always a little bit chinny, a little bit gassy, but it seems like that hasn't been a problem for him the last couple of years. And I used to say that his wins didn't really age well, but now you look at this run that he's on: Matt Frivola, Bill Algeo, Fernando Padilla, the man they call Taco, right? Like, I'm sorry, that's LV Viante. I apologize. That's the wrong Padilla, mixing my guys up. But still, Algeo and Frivola are legitimate UFC wins at this point. So Kyle Nelson is not nearly as bad as I thought he was. He's pretty tough. He's pretty strong. He can wrestle. He does usually end up going to decisions and things like that. But the weirdest thing about all of this was his last fight against Matt Frivola, where he won twice. You guys can see there clearly. The ref steps in and stops the fight with 3 seconds left on the clock. He catches Matt Frivola and is pounding the hell out of him on the mat. The ref steps in, stops the fight, and for God knows what reason, they didn't call it. Kyle, they said something like the horn blew early or something like that. They rolled these dudes back out there. And you could see the adrenaline dump on Kyle Nelson because he thought he just won his fight. So Matt Frivola fights his way back into this thing, and it gets real greasy. Now, Kyle did end up pulling away again in the 3rd round. He gets the decision win, and the right guy wins the fight. But we almost had another like brutal stoppage situation where the guy went from thinking he won to losing the fight that he should have got his hand raised for. So just one of the weirdest things we've seen in the UFC. But he legitimately beat Matt Frivola twice in the same night. He knocked him out in the 1st round, and he won his fight by decision. So I've got to give Kyle Nelson a little bit of rope here. I've got to give Kyle Nelson his flowers to some extent because I haven't believed in him at all until this point. The reason I'm worried about him here in this fight, it's his 2nd fight up at 155 pounds. So I worry that like the bully strength advantage he's had at 145 is not going to really be a thing. And he's taking on somebody who is so much faster than he is. The speed was the thing that kind of killed him in his last knockout loss against Steve Garcia. I'm worried T-Rex is going to be just too fast for the guy. Now, if the fight gets extended at all, I don't even need to say round 2 anymore. If we get to the 3-minute mark, Kyle Nelson's probably winning this fight. But I also feel like he's ripe to be blitzed. Is this another live dog situation? Are we trusting Kyle Nelson at plus 140? Or, you know what? I'm never laying chalk on Terrance McKinney. I'll tell you guys that. Minus 165 on T-Rex, that's a never for me. So it's dog or pass betting. But are we pulling the trigger? Kyle, what do you like here?
I mean, I'm not going to pull the trigger. I do think dog or pass if you're going to play the money line. But, man, I just think that in the first 3 minutes, McKinney's going to look a lot better, going to be a lot more dangerous. He's going to be throwing harder punches, going to be a lot faster when he's doing it. And it could just be all McKinney, and then the fight's over. But then after 3 minutes, Nelson's going to be better everywhere, wherever the fight goes. So it's just, can he weather that early storm or not? I have no idea. I'm picking Terrance McKinney because I think it's going to be one hell of a storm to weather. But, I mean, if he's in there, you know, a minute and a half into this fight, maybe that's the time you start live betting it, because I think it's going to be over really fast, or it's going to start shifting to Nelson pretty clearly. Maybe not even 3 minutes. We'll see. Maybe McKinney's going to go out hard, try and finish him right away. And really the worry would be McKinney going in there, trying to change his style and being a 3-round fighter. I think that would be worse for him. Nelson would just probably dominate from the start. So I want to see McKinney be the same McKinney in every fight, try and get the belt by killing everybody in the first 2 minutes. And he's one of the best 2-minute fighters in the world. But it's just going to go downhill if he doesn't get the finish. So give me Terrance McKinney. I think that'll be more exciting. I like watching him get wins. But this will be one fight for DraftKings DFS. I'm going to be all over it for both sides because the winner will score well in this one.
Terrance McKinney is good for the sport. He's a guy we want to see have success and keep him around a little bit. But right now, Kyle Nelson, I mean, damn, man, he's damn near Canada's favorite son. So I don't know what to do with this one. I might have to pass on this one, you guys. I might have to because, like I said, if there was ever a fade yourself moment, this is it. And I can't lay minus 165 on T-Rex. So I don't know that I'm getting to the window in this fight at all. And the under 1.5 is going to be like minus 450. They are not going to give you a discount on violence in a T-Rex fight. Real quick, guys, let's shout out the sponsor here. We got Spectation Sports, and I always say shout out the sponsor. They're not working with them. They're not technically a sponsor. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Spectation Sports. We've got a heavyweight going this week, right? So we're cheering on Tyrell Fortune, even though I might personally bet against him this week. But if you want to watch his last fight, you're going to need to be subscribed to Spectation Sports. Also, it's a 3-fight week, you guys. Aries Fight Series is this week, and like we mentioned, they're doing the LFA prelims from now on. So if you want to watch the LFA prelims, you're going to need to get signed up on Spectation as well. There's action every single week on this platform, and I can hook you up with 20% off. Promo code DIEHARD gets you 20% off when you sign up at Spectation. So click that link in the description below. Lots of action. Always expanding. They've got a bunch of young up-and-coming fighters. You're going to see these guys on Dana White's Contender Series, so get in while the getting's good, and let me hook you up with that 20% off. We're back. It's UFC Seattle Fight Week. I'm joined by Kyle Marley, and we are talking about these fights, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and please support Kyle as well. You can find his info in the description below. Next fight up, Mansur Abdul-Malik takes on Yousri Belgaroui. And I got a bone to pick with this fight. Mansur is 9-0-1. We're talking about the UFC needing these prospects, right? And he's coming off of a round 1 submission over Antonio Tricoli, Mr. Poker, who just lost his last fight. But do you remember the fight before that?
Yeah, I mean, I was there with half the battle in chat, actually. I do remember.
Oh, shit. I didn't know you guys went to that one. Yeah, he fought Cody Brundage, guys. He fought Cody Brundage in the fight before that. And it was a draw. a decision that was overturned due to a foul that shouldn't shock any of you, with it being a Cody Brundage fight, right? Now, I will say, I always take devil's advocate here just a little bit for Cody Brundage because, dude, he gets fouled so much. I mean, I know with the ground and pound where he like turns his head, like that's his own fault, but like shit like this, he had a legitimate argument. This guy crashed in like head first and like knocked him out with his forehead. It was basically a headbutt. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, it happens to him all the time. It's insane. So this was a legitimate overturning situation, but before that, it was like a 1-1 fight, man. It was a close, tentative, back and forth striking affair with Cody Brundage. Mansur was supposed to come in and run through this man. He's a big power wrestler. And when I mean run through this man, I mean run through this man. You go back and you watch that Antonio Tricoli fight, he like football tackles him. It's not any technique. It is a blitz. Like, he sprints at him, knocks him to the ground, almost loses position, and then in the scramble ends up grabbing Antonio Tricoli's neck. He goes for like, he was looking for back control, falls off, and then bails as he's getting up. Tricoli leaves his neck hanging out there, and you don't want this guy on your neck. So he squeezes Antonio Tricoli's head until it pops off. He's big, he's muscular, he's got power, but I got to tell you, man, he's kind of memeing these low-level guys. Knocks out Dusko in round 1. Knocks out Nick Klein in round 2. Submits Antonio Tricoli in the first. But that Brundage fight, man, it's like, so you get in an extended fight where he's not able to just beast his way through you, and you're in a very, very tentative match with a guy who's not doing well in the UFC. And then if he had done like, if his wrestling was like Marab style, right? He takes Tricoli down, he squirms a little bit, he takes him down again, like that. I'd be way more impressed. But just bulldozing the guy to get him to the mat and then losing position and letting him stand up, that doesn't give me a huge amount of confidence that you're some great wrestler at this level either. So he's 3-4 fights into his UFC run, and even though he's 3-0-1, I've got massive questions. Ryan in the chat real quick, thank you very much. He says it didn't get overturned because of the foul. It got overturned because when they went to the judge's scorecard in the state of Georgia, the entire round does not complete and you can't score the round. Okay, thank you for the clarification, Ryan. The reason for the early stoppage, I think, was that headbutt, though. So that I believe that I must have mixed that up. But interesting, nonetheless. I appreciate the correction. That way, everybody, I can hear the keyboards going away. People in the comments section, not on the live stream, that were going to come after me for that one. So thank you. At any rate, I've got serious questions about him. Now, Yousri is 9-3. He is 33 years old, and he is legitimately trying to be the next Alex Pereira. This guy is a kickboxer who is transitioning over to MMA late in his life, and he is following the game plan, man. He's literally training out of Teixeira MMA. He is the Temu version of Alex Pereira. Like, you can get this guy same day shipping, and he's trying to follow the game plan. He is huge. He fought a bunch of guys. His record seems a little bit padded, but he's absolutely massive. On Dana White's Contender Series, he fought one of their Asian fighters here. Iwaskai, I believe, is the guy's name. And it was a rough look. It was a back and forth, low volume fight until we got to the third round. And then he just ran at the guy. And when I say ran at the guy, Kyle, I really mean like sprinted at him.
Oh, there's the knee from Belgaroui, and he's looking for a finish.
This is what he has to do right now. He's got to lay it on now.
Go for it. The knees we've been talking about all night. He's got to pour it on.
This could be the end for Iwasaki. He is fighting back. Now goes down. That's it.
I mean, just one of the ugliest, sloppiest things you've ever seen. Now, Alex Pereira had power, man. He was dropping people with that high-level kickboxing. This guy looked like he needed to protect his gas tank. And when he finally saw, oh, shit, I'm not getting signed by Dana. I'm not even going to win this fight against this dude. He finally unloaded and just had a little bit more left in the gas. But I mean, that was some schoolyard stuff. Like, he's running, just throwing whatever hands he can to try to land on the guy. I'm going to be honest, I'm not super impressed. But if he's at Teixeira MMA and he's working with Alex Pereira, how's his takedown defense looking? Because if Mansur gets shucked on 1 or 2 takedown attempts, or if this guy can get up, I'm pretty sure Yousri is the better striker at distance. This is a really tough spot for me, man, because while I think Mansur can just kind of beast his way to a win again in this spot, especially if he's able to hit like a big double leg takedown and get on top of this guy or something like that, I think he can maul his way to a win here. I think both of these guys are ready for their fraud check, Kyle. I'll put it that way. I think both these guys are going to end up taking L's when you least expect it. And it rightfully, in my opinion, is a pick 'em at this spot because I don't know who I want to fade right now. Mansur is ever so slightly the -115 favorite, -105 on Yousri Belgaroui. And I could use your help, man. What are you seeing on this one? Slight lean for me to Mansur just because of the grappling upside, but big question marks on both guys.
Yeah, I feel like the winner of this fight is probably going to look like they should be -300, -400 favorite. It could just be clear one way, either side on this one. I think if Mansur is stuck on the feet, he's going to have to knock Yousri out, whatever this guy's name is. I think he's gonna have to knock him out if it's
I've been saying it wrong. I think it's Yousri, not Yousri. Yousri, I believe, is how you pronounce that.
Fair enough. I think, but that would be his one chance on the feet. I mean, he's got a ton of power. It could take one shot from Mansur, and it wouldn't be shocked. But the longer the fight goes, the more it's gonna play into Yousri's favor, and he could get a late finish of his own. He could just pick Mansur apart if he's stuck on the feet. But he might never get a chance to strike in this one. Mansur is just such an athletic, strong freak that he's just going to crash in, grab this guy, pick him up, and slam him. And then I don't know how much a kickboxer is going to have off of his back for a freak like Mansur. So I think maybe another arm triangle, something like that, could be live at any point. Maybe he could just hang out in top control or get a ground and pound stoppage because he is just that big and that strong. So I'm going to lean with Mansur because he should be able to dictate where the fight takes place, at least early in the fight. And then if the takedowns start failing early, you kind of know how this thing's going to start to go. But in the first 2 minutes of this fight, we might not even get to see a punch from Yousri because Mansur might just not let him do anything. He just might take it to the ground right away and physically dominate him. So, yeah, I like Mansur. I mean, I would like to see him grow into an all-around MMA fighter, but the physical talents and the muscles, the everything is there. It's just he still is really green.
Yeah, for sure. And I do want to apologize to the chat because yes, Ryan in the chat asking if I watched the Bekoev fight. Yes, I did. And that was a much better performance than his Dana White's Contender Series fight. And I will say, you look at this guy's socials, and he is not shy about the fact that he is working on his takedown defense. It's just clip after clip after clip. Him training with Alex Pereira, him training with Glover, him drilling takedown defense against the wall, him training get-ups with the guys there at Teixeira. And if you guys don't know, some of you might be too young to remember the legend that is Glover Teixeira. Like, that guy was a Brazilian monster, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt who had legit power and pop in his hands, but a very strong grappler. Like, he's not working with Alex Pereira, the kickboxer. Alex Pereira, the kickboxer, turned his life around, turned his career around by learning from Teixeira how to anti-grapple. And now this guy is following the same path. So, man, you know what? Like, as I'm looking at this and as I'm talking about it, I said I lean towards Mansur. I actually think I lean with Yousri. I'm not going to lie. Like, the big red flags of the one-shot explosions from Mansur, it's kind of shifting me to the other side because I do think that the jab is going to be a big tool. And if he doesn't get just beaten to a pulp on that first takedown, like you said, the longer this fight goes, the more it is in Yousri's favor. And I just don't know if Mansur's got the tools. I'm going to be honest. if he can't keep it going, if he fights this thing anything the way he fought with Cody Brundage, like Yousri is going to melt him in that kind of a fight. So, man, it's a tough fight, you guys. It's a pick 'em, and it's a pick 'em for a reason. It's very, very interesting. Iro saying, my point is that I don't take any stock in the Bekov fight, so any Mansur line is value to me. And he says, no side with me. You're wanting, let's see, if the Bekov fight hadn't happened, Mansur would be minus 400 in this spot. I see. Okay, so you like Mansur in this spot as opposed to Yousri. And Ryan's yelling, no side with me. The chat is fighting over me. You guys have never felt so loved in my entire life. It's like having two women that you're in love with fighting over you at the same time. And it makes me feel very special. So we'll see. Might be an all-around pass, but it should be a fun fight. We'll see what ends up happening here. Both future fades for me. Both guys. Next up, you have got Julian Juicy J Erosa taking on Lerryan Douglas, who comes to us from the LFA and looks to make a splash in his UFC debut. And Kyle, I know every single fight is like a spin of the roulette wheel. Like, you got to treat it as its own thing, right? Just because Red hit the last 3 spins in a row doesn't mean that Red is going to hit this time. But damn, coming off of a Cage Warriors fight card where a bunch of big prospects that were making a splash in the UFC and big hand-picked UFC debuts got derailed, I'm immediately like, I don't want to bet Douglas here. Like, no X's, no O's, no skill sets, no nothing. Like, these guys that are getting their UFC debut, I said I was buying in. They all immediately got squashed when I did. So I'm feeling burned at the moment here. Julian Erosa is kind of a legend at this point. One of these never champion, but good enough to still be considered a legend type of fighters. He's been around forever. 31-12, 36 years old. He has a bit of a trouble with his chin. 7 knockout losses, but he's been doing very good recently. 3-fight win streak was snapped by Melky Costa, which was a fun fight, one where I really thought Melky was going to knock him out. And of course, just that's the way MMA is right now, man. Melky Costa does not knock out the chinny Julian Erosa and turns around and knocks out one of the most durable fighters the UFC has ever seen in Dan Ige the next time out. Like, what are we even doing here? It's impossible sometimes with the way these things line up. So he's finishing people left and right. Round 1 finishes, BJJ black belt, nasty squeeze on him. Good long striker. He hurts people. He's big for the weight class. My poor guy, Christian Rodriguez, didn't stand a chance with this dude on the mat. Unfortunately, size difference was just way too much to overcome. But then you look at some of his losses, and like Fernando Padilla sparked him in the very first round of their fight. He's 16-6. Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres, the man known for having pillow fists, doesn't knock anybody out. I mean, literally doesn't knock anybody out, you guys. He had 1 UFC KO, and guess what? It was Julian Erosa. Like, those are the kinds of guys that knock him out. But then he's going life and death with Charles Jourdain and submitting him in the 3rd round of a banger. I mean, like, it's Julian Erosa is a very tough guy to figure out. He's extremely dangerous. On his best night, he can compete with anybody. On his worst night, the floor falls out. Lerryan is 13-5. 30 years old, making his UFC debut. Like I said, he is coming from LFA, and he is riding in off Dana White's Contender Series. He seems like a hard-nosed pocket boxer, man. This guy likes to get right in front of you, damn near disrespectful the way he stands right in front of you. It's like those videos you see of like boxing drills where they make them put their foot inside the tire and neither guy's allowed to move out of it. That's how this guy fights. He wants to be directly in front of you and just beat the shit out of you. Body shots, leap in left hook, great killer instinct. He's got heavy hands, a good sprawl. I like him. I really do. I like this kid. I'm not going to lie, man. I think this is the spot where those chin issues kind of resurface. Marley, I've been burned by this before. I think Douglas is going to knock out Julian Erosa on Saturday. Can you talk me off a cliff? Because that's the way I'm looking here. What about you?
I mean, to talk you off a cliff, it would just be that he is a minus 305 right now. That's a 75% implied probability, so you got to think he's going to win this more than 75 out of 100 times for there to be value. And I think that Erosa is our overall minute winner in this one. Erosa's got really great pace on the feet. He is a good striker. It's just the chin issues on the feet are really bad, and he is hittable. But Erosa's a really good grappler. I think if he is taking this to this fight to the ground, Erosa could dominate. He could get a submission in any round. He's got good cardio. It's just the chin. He's been knocked out 7 times. And this guy Douglas, man, he looks like he hits hard. He's got like that Topuria type of power.
Yes.
And I think that I just don't think the chin's going to react well to getting hit by this guy. So I am going to pick Douglas to get a knockout. But I think it's kind of got to be a knockout. I don't really see him winning a whole lot of minutes in a 15-minute fight. And I don't think he wants to grapple at all with Erosa. So you're really relying on the knockout at a high price, in my opinion, if you're paying that money line. But I am going to pick him to get it. I think that's probably what the UFC wants to happen as well.
I'm with you, man. The KO prop right now is about -145, and I think that might be a straight play for me. You know, I think that's probably better than like parlaying up the money line or anything like that, because I agree with you. It's tough to see him winning this fight outside of the KO. If he's winning, he's probably landing, and if he's landing, he's probably knocking this dude out. And if he's not winning minutes, and he's absolutely not winning the grappling, then it's tough to envision a decision. He's definitely not submitting him. So yeah, maybe just a prop play on this one. Lay a little chalk, might be okay in this spot. If he wins, he'll get the knockout. I think we are aligned in this decision-making process. All right, guys, there is over 360 of you live right now across all platforms. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you're following our guy, Kyle Marley, with his amazing content that he provides. Check him out. I almost forgot, though. I did load up a clip for you guys because, unfortunately, one of my favorite knockouts ever. I got to show it to you as we're talking about Juicy J here.
And good job. There's
Erosa's out. Julio Arce in the 3rd round.
Back when Julio Arce was the fucking dude. That was a massive head kick knockout. I loved Julio Arce. I thought he was really going places. But that's the kind of chin we're dealing with there. Not that knockout is a fluke or anything. Anybody getting hit with that head kick is going down. Let's move along, guys. Next up, we've got Michael Chiesa, and he's taking on Niko, the hybrid Price. Man, Niko Price and Cody Brundage are best friends right now. I keep thinking they're just done, and the UFC just keeps re-signing them. I swear I thought Niko was done after his last fight, but here he is filling in on short notice for Michael Chiesa's retirement fight. So we've got a potential double knockout here. We got a potential double retirement fight on our hands on Saturday, and I can't believe it. Chiesa's 38 years old, and I feel a little bit vindicated, man, because his last couple of fights, he's been fighting an ever dropping level of competition, and I keep saying I just don't feel like his heart's in it. I don't feel like he's interested anymore. And I keep trying to fade him. He's got Tony Ferguson, Max Griffin, Court McGee. And I'm like, I am going to just fade the shit out of this guy. He keeps finding ways to win in these spots. And now that he announces his retirement, I'm like, okay, so I was right. Like he definitely is ready to get out of here. Unfortunately, I never got the fade. He was supposed to fight Carlston Harris. And let me tell you, I was about to go ham on some Carlston Harris. I was ready to fade the shit out of him against Carlston Harris. So I'm a little upset. I feel like we missed a free money opportunity here with this late notice change up. Chiesa's whole thing, man, he never developed the striking. He's a big time grappler, moved up from 155 pounds, and he just kind of bullies people to the ground. His entire striking game plan is defensive. He doesn't want to engage. He doesn't want to get hit. He doesn't like being touched. And then when he gets you to the mat, he's extremely good once the fight gets on the ground. Now, he is a little bit suspect. Other people who know front chokes, that's always been the thing. The Darce is there for him, right? Kevin Holland, Vicente Luque, Anthony Pettis, Kevin Lee, they all submitted him. And specifically in those last two instances, the Darce choke, he has had a tough time keeping his neck out of submissions. 5 losses by way of sub, even though you think most of his losses would come by KO, since he really just is so against getting into striking exchanges. He's only actually been knocked out 1 time his entire career. It's mostly club and subs where he gets hurt, gets on the mat, gets in a bad position, and then gives up the choke. So he's fighting Niko Price here in this spot, who's at 16-10 at this point. 36 years old, training out of his backyard, won in, 5 in his last 6 fights? His only win coming by decision over Alex Morono, which, by the way, was just one of the weirdest throwback type win fights I've ever seen. Total dart throw that night. Got out-hustled by Themba Gorimbo. Jacoby Smith smashed him. Nikolai Veretennikov in his last fight, nailing the coffin, just standing TKO'd him. That Niko Price's whole thing back in the day was he was kind of a freak of nature. He was tough. He was durable. He was explosive, and he could hit you with weird stuff that came out of nowhere. He was the prototype of Dricus du Plessis that just never made it through the Captain America project, right? He didn't get the super soldier serum. He was just kind of a freak. And now that the skills have never caught up, and now that the durability is waning, he's been chipped away at, he's not really the guy anymore, right? He's losing all of these fights instead of coming through and winning some of them. His last win before Morono was Alex Oliveira in 2021. I mean, it's been a rough run for Niko Price. Like back in 2020, I remember he went life and death with a prime Vicente Luque. Those were the days. I just don't think he's got anything left in the tank. Now, retirement Michael Chiesa is a massive step down from what he's been facing recently. However, Themba was able to out-hustle him. Jacoby had no problem submitting him. He got Suloev stretched by Pat Sabatini in a grappling match recently. Like, I don't think he's got anything for Chiesa on the mat. And I don't think he's savvy enough to do enough on the feet to be able to hurt Michael Chiesa. And Niko's not really a submission guy. I mean, he's got 3 of them on his record. But in the UFC, all of his wins come by knockout. You know, the Randy Brown hammer fist, one punch in Tim Means, up kicking James Vick. Like he's never really been a submission guy. So unless Michael Chiesa makes a big mistake and gets clubbed hard with something and he latches onto a neck, I'm just not seeing it, man. I think there's a very real possibility this is a quick fight. I could see Chiesa submitting him early and riding off into the sunset.
That's kind of how I see it. I think Niko's fighting to get a paycheck at this point. I mean, he's got like 18 kids. They got to eat, you know? So,
for real.
mean, he's taking this fight on short notice. It's for that paycheck. It's not that he sees something in Chiesa that he thinks he can exploit. He's going to need to keep it on the feet in order to have a chance to win, and a knockout's probably his best chance. At this point in their careers, I feel like Chiesa could win striking moments or striking minutes against Niko, and even take that one on the cards. But one takedown from Chiesa could be all that it takes. I think he's going to be real heavy in top control, grab a neck when he gets a chance, and it'll probably be a wrap shortly after. So give me Chiesa to get a first-round finish in Seattle and right off into retirement in front of his fans at home.
Yep, I'm there with you completely. He's a minus 550 favorite. Ignore the dog, guys. I'm sure you can probably hear Bo. He's drunk on painkillers at the moment, so don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
He likes
this
Niko,
is not.
huh?
What's up?
He likes Niko, huh?
Yeah, apparently he likes Niko. I'm telling you though, he doesn't have the sense for fighting the way Link did, man. He's not barking at the right times. You can't trust this pup. He's still young in the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, sorry, and yeah, sorry about that tussle. The wife just came home, and I will tell you this: he's a family dog, but my wife is his favorite person on the entire planet. So when mom comes home, he goes absolutely nuts. Daniel, I'm with you. Minus 550 is absolutely LOL. I have been trying to fade Michael Chiesa for the last 3 years, so I'm not going to turn around and lay a minus 550 on him now. The prediction is round 1 sub. I'm not laying that price tag, and I don't think they're going to give you a bargain on the sub prop betting either, considering that's almost the only way he wins fights these days. And actually, now that I say that, Chiesa by sub is even money, man. Minus 115 for Chiesa by sub. I don't think that's going to hang around very long. I've got a feeling that number's going to move. Fight doesn't go the distance is like minus 250. So it's weird that it's almost an even money type of spot for Chiesa to win by sub. I think that's probably the move. Another prop shot, right? Like if you're going to bet this thing, don't lay the minus 550, just bet the sub prop. He could win by decision, but I don't think Niko's savvy enough to survive with him on the ground. But I will be rooting for a Niko Price TKO. Let me tell you guys, I will absolutely be rooting my face off for a Niko Price TKO. Next up, guys, it is your co-main event of the evening. Alexia Grasso takes on Maycee, the future Barber, and the future is now, my friends. Alexia Grasso is a tough situation for me because I feel like she fell off hard, man. And then you look at the record, and it's not really a fall off. It's a weird situation. So she is 2-2-1 in her last 5 fights. She gets the big upset submission win over Valentina Shevchenko back in 2023. And let me tell you, Kyle, I was on her money line that night, and I believe I had her inside the distance too for like a sprinkle. So I was on cloud 9 that night. And I was convinced that this was like the anointing moment, that it's like, you took out Shevchenko, you're on a rocket ship, it's all up from here. The UFC's giving you your own custom UFC belt Mexico colors. And I thought my girl was going to be just going after it at this point. Well, we run it back, and I have never been so blessed in my life than to get the money I bet on Alexia Grasso back in the rematch with Valentina Shevchenko. If you guys don't recall, that was one of the most horrific judges' scorecards we have ever seen. Somebody legitimately scored that fight for Grasso. It was the fight night at the Sphere. Valentina straight up called out the corruption. She was like, that was a bullshit scorecard. Nobody thinks she won that fight, but they scored it a draw, and I got a push on my bet. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen because I should have lost money that night. And then they run back the trilogy, and Val just wrecks her. I mean, just full control, out wrestles her, out hustles her. Grasso's got no chance, had no game plan. And then she looked lost in the Natalia Silva fight, man. I'm not going to lie. On the feet, she really just didn't even look like she wanted to be there. So she has only lost to Natalia Silva, who may be your next champion, and Valentina Shevchenko, who is the undisputed women's GOAT at this point, outside of Amanda Nunes. And for some reason, it feels like a piece of her soul died. You know, it was like the big crowning moment. She climbed her Mount Everest. She finished Valentina Shevchenko. And then it's all downhill from there. And it's a process that's taken 3 years. And now she's suddenly on a 2-fight skid. She's not a contender anymore. Like it feels like this is a must-win situation for Alexia Grasso if she's ever going to be relevant again. And it feels like her heart wasn't in it against Natalia Silva. And it might just be that Nat was a bad matchup for her. You know, it might just be that she wasn't going to win that one. But it felt like she wasn't involved in that fight to me. Now, Maycee Barber, on the other hand, is coming off another similar type of situation. She's 27 years old, and she's had some canceled fights where she blew weight on the scale against Erin Blanchfield. That fight got cut. She got pulled. She was having health concerns. She came back against Karina Silva and looked like $1 million. Just beat the hell out of Karina Silva. Took her down, took her back, started pounding on her. Like she looked really good in that fight. So it was good to see her come back, because with all the health conditions talk and stuff like that, I legitimately thought we might see an early end to the career of Maycee Barber. It sounded really bad, but she looked great in that fight. Now, this is a huge step up in competition. This is the UFC saying, all right, girl, it's time to get back on track now. If you want to be the champion, you got to beat someone who's champion level. And she's a -170 favorite against Alexia Grasso here in the spot. You can get +140 on Alexia Grasso. And it's an interesting matchup because I do think Maycee Barber's got some wrestling in her back pocket. We've seen her go to that before. She's very physical. She's very strong. She's a bully. She's mean. She's got decent boxing, and she's got decent pop in her punches too. I remember cashing a KO prop against Amanda Hebos a while ago, but realistically, that's the only person she's actually finished. Man, I thought she was going to knock out Karina Silva. Karina gasses out. So when she got it to the ground and started hurting her, I thought she was going to be pounding on her, and she was going to get a TKO late in that fight, and it just kind of didn't materialize. I think Alexia Grasso is the finisher in this fight. Barber is more of the minute winner, more of the grinder in this fight. She can wrestle. and she can get on top of Grasso. Grasso, we've seen, is incredibly dangerous from her guard, but she is more than willing to play there, and she can lose minutes doing that. At boxing range, I actually think Grasso is going to have a significant little speed advantage here, but I do think Maycee has a power advantage. This fight sets up to be a split decision all freaking day to me. I think this is going to be extremely close. I think we could see Alexia Grasso kind of come back to life a little bit here with this step down in competition. And Maycee Barber could struggle a little bit with the step up in competition because she hasn't fought any elite level competitions since, Alexia Grasso was the last loss she had all the way back in 2021. So this is a rematch. They're trying to get that one back. I don't know if she's become a different person. I don't know if she's improved enough to be able to beat Alexia Grasso a second time if Grasso comes correct in this fight. So I kind of lean dog or pass, but I will say, you guys, this is one of those spots that we've been talking about recently where the UFC doesn't seem to be beholden to anybody anymore. And the people that they want to win, if it's a close fight, they win. Barber is somebody who they are heavily invested in. Barber is somebody who they really like. She seems to be someone who they've got circled. They like the way she talks. They're putting her in positions to succeed. If this fight is a split decision, I fully expect that split decision to go Maycee Barber's way. I will say that. So while I think Grasso is the betting side at plus 140, plus 150, I think Maycee's going to find a way somehow in the end to get her hand raised unless Grasso finishes this fight. I think the deck is kind of stacked against her. Kyle, what do you make of this one, man?
Yeah, I mean, I agree pretty much with everything you said. I think on the feet, this one will be close. Grasso, speed advantage. Barber, the power advantage. I think Barber will be the aggressor pushing forward, where Grasso will be more on her bike. On the ground, Barber is going to be our better wrestler, but Grasso is going to be our more dangerous submission artist in this one. Grasso, definitely motivation. I mean, what do we know about motivation in this one? When you lose your title, I mean, I feel like it's not going to be easy to be motivated when you're not fighting for a title anymore. So I think motivation is going to be on the Barber side as well. In that first match, Barber landed 2 more strikes than Grasso. She also landed 3 takedowns to Grasso 0. I think she should be looking to wrestle in this fight. Grasso was taken down like 16 times in the 3 Val fights. I feel like Barber
Blueprint
should be looking to wrestle heavily here. And if she does, she could win 2, maybe 3 clear rounds. But I think that while this fight's on the feet, it is going to be close. And if that's what it's going to shape out to be, then we probably will see a split decision. But give me Barber to get her hand raised, do enough to win 29-28. But if she's not in there shooting for takedowns, I'd definitely be worried about laying a minus 170 price tag on her. So yeah, I think I'd be fine with being a dog or pass on the money line, but I prefer pass.
I hear you. And it does look like some money has come in because Barber was minus 175 earlier in the week. She's about minus 165 now. So some nibbles here on the Grasso money line. And I will tell you guys, this might be the spot. If the juice isn't too much, you might want to look at maybe a Grasso spread. Because I know it's going to be chalked up, right? They're not going to give you a discount on it. But the plus 3.5 on the Grasso spread, I think she wins at least 1 round. I think this is a competitive fight. And I will confess, I didn't make it all the way back to watching the first fight. It was so long ago, I'm not sure it's relevant. I will do that before the Friday show so I can comment on the difference between these 2 women from the first fight to now. And we'll see. I'm kind of holding steady on this one, but I have a feeling, much like what happened when Barber fought Miranda Maverick, everyone is screaming robbery on Saturday, and Barber gets her hand raised. Let me switch caps here for that one, right? That's the tinfoil cap for the week, is that Barber's going to win an undeserving split decision by the end of this one. All right, everybody, main event of the evening. Let's freaking go. The return of the style bender, Israel Adesanya taking on Joe Body Bag Pyfer. The UFC is in the process of trying to build another star here in this moment at the expense of a legend. And Israel Adesanya is such a tough case. Kind of similar to what we were talking about with Grasso. The fall from grace has been incredible. 24-5, 36 years old, the king of city kickboxing. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's 1-4 in his last 5, and that last win was the big knockout win over Alex Pereira, the one that changed everything. And I said this when I broke down his fight with Dricus. I think Israel Adesanya climbed his Mount Everest. I think Alex Pereira meant everything to him. And when he got it back and he got that win, especially the way he did it with the knockout, with the arrows, I mean, that was a bow on his career. And I legitimately believe he just never came back the same from that. And you would think, taking damage and stuff like that, you would think coming back from a loss would be worse, right? But I legitimately think he emptied his emotional tank that night. I don't think he had anything left to push for. That was his win. That was the one he needed. And after that, I just don't think we've ever seen Adesanya the same ever again. And he's been in enough brawls, he's been in enough wars that now the durability is a bit of a concern. He's coming off getting TKO'd by Nasruddin Imavov. He got beaten up by Dricus du Plessis, and he got smothered in that fight. But the one that was super concerning was even before that, when he got rocked by Sean Strickland. That was the thing I wasn't expecting. Sean was like a 4-1 underdog that night. I gave him zero chance, Kyle. I never expected him to come into that fight and have any success. And I know in his last fight against Fluffy, he did manage to get the knockout. But like we've always said, Sean doesn't knock out anybody. The fact that he dropped Izzy the way he did, and Israel just looked like he never recovered from that. He managed to make it the full 25 minutes, but he was stumbling around all over the place on weak legs, like just a bad look. And he's taken so much damage recently. It's been tough, man. It's been tough. Hard to see a guy that's a legend and as incredible as Israel Adesanya look the way he has recently. Part of me wants to see him revive, right? Part of me wants to see him bounce back here in this spot and show the next generation what's up and hang around. But I legitimately think this could be his swan song. I think if he loses one more, he's just going to kind of bow out. Now, Joe Pyfer, 15-3, 29 years old. He's finally kind of coming into his prime here. This was the guy that Dana White said be Joe Pyfer that stuck for Dana White's Contender Series, right? Back in the day, way back in 2022. He's the original 2-time Dana White's Contender Series contestant. This man got beaten by Dustin Stolfus, which admittedly was a fluke situation. He got slammed and his arm snapped the wrong way. Tough for him. Took him a while to come on back after that. And he's been really developing this whole way. So this guy is a really strong grappler, well-muscled, physically powerful, hurts people with the hands, and he can wrestle. He got exposed against Jack Hermanson a couple of years ago, got jabbed to death, couldn't catch him, couldn't cut off the angles, looked like a big Chris Curtis in there. Couldn't do anything to him. But he's really worked on his cardio and his grappling and his cage presence ever since, and he's looked really good recently. Now, he fought Marc-Andre Barrios, which frankly in 2026 is not a win that I really am like writing home about. And same thing with his win over Abus Magomedov, a guy who is a striker, not a grappler who's got questionable cardio. Again, not a win that I'm really writing home about, but he did what you're supposed to do to a guy like that. The one that kind of sticks out to me is the Kelvin Gastelum win. Kelvin, maybe not the same guy he was back in the day, but still an extremely tough out, still a guy that you've got to go volume for volume with. And that was kind of the thing that I didn't think Joe was going to be able to do. I've said that he's kind of a moment winner, not really a minute winner, but he went out there and put up 114 significant strikes against Kelvin Gastelum. That's impressive as hell, man. Like that's a good, solid win. That shows he's developing the way that you need to. This is a fight where falling stock for Israel, rising stock for Joe Pyfer. Has Israel fallen enough where Joe Pyfer can take this win? And my gut says yes. Like everything I want to bet Israel Adesanya. I want him to win this fight. I want to see him come out here and be so smooth on the feet and be able to shuck some takedowns and piece this guy up and maybe hurt him late in the fight. I can see it playing out so clearly. I just don't know that Israel's that guy anymore. I think that's 2022 Israel Adesanya that I'm envisioning. I don't think that's 2026 Israel Adesanya that I'm seeing out there moving and flowing like water. I think in 2026, Joe Pyfer can do a lot of what guys like Dricus and Nasruddin did to Israel, which is back him up, put him against the cage, take him down, and then hurt him once he's on the mat. Now, I will say I do not trust Joe Pyfer's cardio whatsoever, you guys. I will say I don't trust it even the least. So if there's a window to live bet Israel Adesanya, like in the third round or something like that, this fight is close. You can maybe see Joe's mouth hanging open a little bit. I will look to jump in live on Israel Adesanya. Pre-flop, I'm going to pick Joe Pyfer to complete the prophecy and become a contender in this spot the way the UFC wants him to. But my soul is rooting for Israel Adesanya. And I think we can find a way for Izzy to be the side, but I'm going to wait to do it live because I don't trust it pre-flop. That was a lot. So I teed that one up there, Kyle. I apologize for going long. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on this because this is a fantastic fight.
Yeah, I have similar worries with Adesanya as I do with Grasso, with the whole motivation factor. Once you lose the belt, what do you really have to fight for, especially now that he's on a 3-fight skid? But talent-wise in this one, I think Izzy is our better striker. I think he is our better minute winner. Pyfer, he said he landed 114 significant strikes against Kelvin. He threw 114 significant strikes. He only landed 57. He knocked Kelvin down twice.
Thank you for the correction.
He knocked Kelvin down twice, but Izzy doubled those knockdowns. He doubled those significant strikes landed, and he threw 237 strikes when he fought Kelvin Gastelum. So I feel like the minutes are still going to be on the Izzy side, and the wrestling for sure going to be on the Pyfer side. But this is a 5-round fight. I think if Pyfer wrestles early, I think that affects his striking late. And I think Izzy can do enough in this one to win 3 or 4 rounds as long as he stays conscious. I would be worried about him backing away with his chin up and getting just completely knocked out conscious. But if he can avoid that, I don't think wrestling will be enough of a factor to play into the decision. And I like Izzy to strike his way to a decision win here. So if I had to bet it, I'd be on the favorite in this one. I think Pyfer has star potential, but I don't know that he's that guy, and I don't know that he is really ready for a 5-round striking match. I think he needs to go out there and knock Izzy out to get his title shot, but I'm hoping Izzy hangs in.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you on this one. So fingers crossed. We are rooting for Israel Adesanya to do one here this week. I think we'll find out pretty early. If Izzy wins round 1, we're done. Like he's cooking. It's off to the races if Izzy wins round 1, right? Joe has got to win and do some damage and get hustling early, I think, in this fight to be able to really be live. But we'll see what ends up going on. Man, can't wait. This is a fun card. There's a lot of really competitive lines, and there's a lot of really live dogs, you guys. Be very, very careful because with this many close to pick-em lines, this is the kind of card where you get rich or you die trying, because if you're on the wrong side of the coin, it can be a long night. But if you are right on the way some of these fights break, it can be a good one too. I hope you guys absolutely make piles this week. Kyle, my friend, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I promise we won't wait a year to get you back on unless, of course, if football season sneaks up on us here, we might have to, but we'll do what we can to get you back sooner. I appreciate the time. If you have any sponsors, you got more content coming out, where can the people find you? Where can they support what you're doing?
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. It's always fun talking fights with you. Even if it is football season, hit me with the invite. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I enjoyed this. You guys can follow me at Big Marley 3 everywhere. I do a free podcast on YouTube as well over at Ship It Nation. It'll be Wednesday this week. It usually is Thursday nights. We'll do it live, but you can tune in Friday, Saturday. Check it out. It'll be DFS focused. I do it with my buddy Titletown. He's a beast in the DFS streets. So tune in if you are into daily fantasy sports. We'll break this card down. It's usually about an hour or so over there. But I had fun, man. Good luck to you, Clint, and good luck to everybody listening as well.
Hell yeah. And now I got to ask real quick, man. Swing it all the way back around to football. Is JJ McCarthy going to be starting for the Vikings, or is Kyler Murray taking over week 1 for my football team?
I think you got to give it to Kyler, actually. You start with Kyler, see where it goes, see what he can do with that team, and if it doesn't work, you just try and build JJ off the field as much as you can and see what you have with him. But right now, I think you got to go with Kyler.
I think so too. All right, guys. Thank you all very much for being here to watch the show. We had 400 live there for a second, so appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that like button on your way out. Jump in the comment section. I try to get back to everybody. If you've got questions or if you got a play that you like or something like that, I try to get back to everybody as much as I can. We will have the prop show, the total show, and of course the undefeated post weigh-in show on Friday for you for UFC Seattle. Good luck, everybody. Crush this week. Let's roll.